It began with a picture. A single, low-resolution image. Dimly lit, walls painted a sickly yellow, carpeted floor damp with a moldy smell you could almost imagine, and rows of buzzing fluorescent lights that never seemed to end. No windows, no furniture, no exit. In May 2019, someone posted that photo anonymously on a forum thread asking for unsettling images that just feel off. It wasn't a crime scene. It wasn't from a horror movie. And yet, it felt wrong. Deeply, fundamentally wrong. The kind of wrong that doesn't scream, but whispers. Something you can't explain. But your body knows it shouldn't be there. That image would become the seed of a legend, the Backrooms. Soon after, an idea followed the image. If you're not careful, the post warned, and you no-clip out of reality in the wrong areas, you'll end up in the Backrooms. No clip, like in a video game. A glitch, an accident, a fall through the cracks of the world itself. What emerged wasn't just a creepy setting, it was a mythology. The Backrooms became a space beneath reality. A purgatory of infinite, monotonous rooms. Level 0, the entry point, where time doesn't pass and escape is almost impossible. The walls hum, the air is still, you're alone. Except maybe for something watching from just out of frame. From that single forum post, an entire universe began to expand. Internet users added new levels, new threats, new rules. Some described encountering creatures. Others warned of level fun, a trap disguised as joy. The Backrooms became alive with lore, evolving like a virus through forums, wikis, YouTube videos, and indie games. But what made it different from typical creepypastas was this. It didn't feel like a story someone wrote. It felt like a place people remembered. The architecture was strangely familiar. Those yellow hallways echoed childhood memories. Schools, old offices, forgotten basements, liminal spaces, areas in between. And that's what made it terrifying. The idea that anyone, at any moment, could simply fall into it. Through a glitch, through a dream, through a forgotten door in a place you've walked by 1,000 times. The concept exploded. Artists began illustrating entire levels. Game developers recreated it in stunning, immersive detail. Short films went viral, some so well made that viewers thought they were real footage. People began to swear they had seen the Backrooms in their dreams. Others said they'd been there as children or during sleep paralysis. The lines between fiction, memory, and reality blurred. And with that, the question began to form. What if it's not just a made-up place? What if the Backrooms have always been there? Psychologists chimed in. They said it was just liminal fear, the brain reacting to transitional spaces with no clear context. But others weren't so sure. Could so many people experience the same fear, the same dreamlike imagery by coincidence? Or was something deeper calling to them? People began searching, in photos, in abandoned buildings, in the dark corners of memory, hoping to find or desperately avoid the place behind the wallpaper. The place we weren't meant to see. And maybe, just maybe, some found it. Audience hook. Have you ever dreamed of a place that doesn't exist but feels like you've been there before? Describe it in the comments, because maybe we've all been there together. At first, the Backrooms were just fiction, a story built online by strangers, a collaborative urban legend, a playground of imagination. But then, the stories began to change. People weren't just creating levels or drawing maps. They were submitting experiences. First as fiction, then not so much. In Reddit threads, obscure blogs, and buried YouTube comments, individuals began to report strange events. They didn't say they dreamed of the backrooms. They said they'd been there. Some claimed they no-clipped during a near-death experience. Others described slipping through in dreams that didn't feel like dreams. One man recounted stepping into a rarely used elevator in a mall and arriving on a floor that shouldn't exist, identical to level 0. The similarities were eerie. The smell of moist carpet, the constant hum of flickering lights, the disorientation, the feeling of being watched, details so consistent they couldn't be coincidence. Some wrote about wandering the endless corridors for hours, or what felt like years, before waking up in their own bed, heart racing, soaked in sweat. Others said they never escaped. They only remembered long enough to write it down, before forgetting again. Many dismissed these stories as roleplay, creative writing, but some reports came from people who didn't even know what the backrooms were. No hashtags, no community references, just raw accounts of something that shouldn't exist. And then came the video. A YouTube short film, uploaded anonymously, showed what appeared to be handheld footage from inside the backrooms. It started with a camera operator filming a scene for a school project. The camera tilts, static, then silence. The screen cuts to the yellow walls, the buzzing lights, an endless hallway. The camera shakes, the breathing becomes panicked, and just before the video ends, something moves in the distance. People thought it was fake, a hoax, until more clips surfaced. Different styles, different people, same location. Some viewers claimed they'd seen those exact same rooms in their dreams. Others said the videos triggered panic attacks because they recognized it. The back rooms weren't just a concept anymore. They were becoming an experience, a memory, a fear shared by people who had never spoken, never met, but described the same impossible place. Quick pause. If you're still here and want to go deeper into this mystery, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. More layers, more levels, more unexplained stories are coming, and you won't want to miss what's next. As more stories emerged, the lines between reality and fiction began to dissolve. Was this a modern form of mass hysteria? A digital age tulpa? A being manifested by belief alone? Or something else? A user on a forum once wrote, "What if the back rooms were never meant to be fiction? What if the person who posted that photo was trying to warn us?" And suddenly, the tone of the discussion changed. People became afraid. Some deleted their posts. Others stopped replying to threads they had started. A few left cryptic messages before disappearing entirely. And the rumors grew darker. Accounts of people vanishing in real life. Security cameras capturing individuals entering buildings and never leaving. Cases without explanation. Phones that rang in the night with no one on the other end. Only that faint electric hum. What began as internet fiction was now something else. Something closer. More personal. A shadow just beneath the surface of what we know. And the scariest part? No one could tell when it crossed over. Because if the back rooms are real, then we are all just one bad glitch away from never returning. As the stories grew, so did the questions. What began as digital folklore started to attract attention from an unlikely crowd. Scientists, psychologists, and theorists. Each offering their own explanation for why the backrooms felt so real. Some pointed to psychology. According to experts, liminal spaces, areas between function and abandonment, create discomfort in the brain. Empty hallways, old-school buildings, offices without people. They are spaces that should be full of life, but aren't. Our minds reject the emptiness, and in that rejection they create fear. But that doesn't explain everything. Why do so many unrelated people describe the same details? The same smell of mildew, the same flickering lights, the same disorienting silence interrupted by distant, shifting noises. Why are the reports so specific, even when they come from people who've never heard of each other? To answer that, some turned to physics. One theory suggests that reality itself might be layered, and that the backrooms could exist in one of those layers. Quantum physicists have long entertained the possibility of multiple dimensions stacked atop one another. According to this idea, we occupy one level of reality, but beneath it could be thousands more, invisible and inaccessible, unless perhaps something breaks, or someone slips. The idea of no clipping out of reality is absurd at first, but when viewed through the lens of simulation theory, it becomes disturbingly plausible. If we are living in a simulation, a controlled environment governed by code, then glitches are inevitable. And what is a glitch if not a moment where the rules fail? Could the backrooms be a debugging space? A forgotten void where things that break from the simulation are placed? It's a chilling idea that people who disappear without a trace haven't been kidnapped or lost or even dead. They've simply fallen into the code. Still, not all theories are digital. Some believe the backrooms are a collective memory or perhaps a shared dream. Carl Jung once proposed the idea of the collective unconscious, a reservoir of primal memories and images shared by all human beings. If such a thing exists, then perhaps the backrooms are a part of it. A place that doesn't exist in the physical world, but exists in the mind of everyone. This would explain why people recognize it without knowing why. Why dreams of the yellow rooms are so vivid. Why some feel like they've been there before. It's not a dream, it's a memory of something buried deep inside our species. But one question always rises above the rest. Why now? Why did the backrooms emerge in 2019? Why did that one photo resonate with millions? Why did the idea spread so quickly and feel so real? Some say the modern world is making us vulnerable. We're disconnected, isolated, lost in algorithms and endless scrolling. The backrooms reflect that. An endless, meaningless space that feels familiar, but offers no escape. Others say it's something darker, that the backrooms didn't come from us, but found a way to enter our minds through the internet. A kind of conceptual infection. A parasite of thought that grows the more people believe in it. And belief, as we've seen time and time again, has power. Cultures around the world have stories of places between worlds. Hidden rooms, forbidden spaces. From fairy rings to spirit realms to lost corridors and sacred temples, the pattern is ancient. The back rooms, some argue, are just the modern skin of an old universal fear. But here's the most disturbing theory of all. What if the back rooms are real, but not in the way we think? Not a dimension, not a dream, but a real place built by someone, somewhere, for something. A psychological experiment? A failed government project? A prison for those who've seen too much? And if so, where are the people who built it? Are they still inside? The backrooms began as fiction, but now they live somewhere else, in the corners of our thoughts. In those moments when you find yourself alone in a hallway too quiet. In a dream that doesn't feel like a dream. In a place you've never seen before, but can't shake the feeling you've been. What started as a viral post has become a modern mythology, a new urban legend. Yet, unlike others, this one never needed a monster. The horror of the backrooms doesn't come from what's chasing you. It comes from what's missing. No exits, no time, no answers. The lore continues to evolve. New levels, new creatures, new rules. Entire communities now document it like historians, piecing together theories, maps, and survival guides. Some claim there are over 1,000 levels, each more unstable than the last. Others say the real danger is emotional. The deeper you go, the more you forget who you are. But not everyone who enters the Backrooms comes back. Online, a strange pattern has begun to emerge. Content creators who dive too deeply into the topic, especially those who produce immersive media, sometimes stop posting without warning. Some are never heard from again. Fans speculate, joke even, that they've no-clipped. But behind the memes, there's unease. Because what if it's not a joke? What if the Backrooms don't just infect minds, but call to them? Psychologists now have a name for it: the liminal trap, a phenomenon where repeated exposure to liminal imagery triggers feelings of unreality and detachment. It's subtle, creeping, a pull toward something that doesn't exist, or shouldn't. And once you feel it, some say, you start seeing it everywhere. In office buildings, in empty gas stations at night, in old shopping malls with one flickering light above a dark corridor. They call it recognition. And it doesn't stop. Even those who swear they've never believed in the Backrooms often find themselves drawn to the idea. Not because they think it's real, but because something inside them does. A whisper in the brain, a tug at the subconscious. You've been here before, but the question remains: if the Backrooms exist, is there any way out? Some stories say yes, that there are escape points hidden throughout the levels. Doors, cracks in the walls, windows of light. But they move, and they're rare. And worse, sometimes they're traps. Other accounts are more terrifying. People who found a way out, only to realize they returned to a different reality. One where details are off. Time skips. Friends don't remember conversations that definitely happened. Reality feels thinner, more fragile. And then there are those who never try to escape. They accept the yellow walls. They wander. They become part of it. And that may be the final horror. The longer you're there, the less you want to leave. So now we're left with a mystery. A space that no one can prove exists, but everyone recognizes. A fear we laugh about until we dream about it. A modern myth that might just be a forgotten truth. If the Backrooms are real, they're not a place you find. They're a place that finds you. And maybe that's the point. Maybe we're not meant to escape. Maybe we're just meant to remember and wonder. Have you been here before? Comment below. What's the most unsettling place you've ever been in real life? A hallway? A dream? A building no one else remembers? Let us know, because your story might not be just a story.